Welcome to Key Tech. Please describe this channel if you are interested in today's video. As a representative of China's technology industry, Huawei once climbed to the top of the global technology industry. In 2020, its revenue reached 891.4 billion yuan, and its R&D investment reached 141.8 billion, ranking second in the world, second only to Google. With huge investment in scientific research, Huawei not only won the first place in the communication equipment market represented by 5G, but also beat Samsung and Apple to take the first place in the global market in the field of consumer electronics represented by smartphones. Huawei mobile phone won the first place in the world. Such a huge success of Huawei has also shocked the global technology industry, especially the United States. Because in the past, domestic companies generally seized the market based on quantity and cost effectiveness, and they did not have a strong say in the technology industry, so naturally they would not be taken seriously by Western technology companies. But Huawei has begun to gain the right to speak on global standards, such as 5G, for the first time. There is an old saying in the technology industry that everyone must be familiar with, that is, first-rate companies make standards, second-rate companies make brands, and third-rate companies make products. In the past, most domestic companies stayed at the stage of making products, and very few companies evolved to the level of making brands. Huawei is almost the first company that can participate in the formulation of global standards. For Huawei, this may only be a small step, but it is an important sign for the domestic technology industry. That is, domestic technology companies have the ability and qualification to enter the competition of the global technology industry. Huawei's success has naturally aroused great fear in the United States. First, it banned Huawei's telecommunications equipment and consumer electronics products from being sold in the United States on the grounds of safety. Production was discontinued, and a large consumer market share was lost as a result. China launches security review of Micron. When Huawei encountered unfair treatment, many consumers wondered why they could not initiate countermeasures. Now the countermeasures have finally arrived. On the evening of March 31, the Network Security Review Office under the Internet Information Office announced that it would conduct a review of Micron Corporation, Micron, the world's third-ranked U.S. memory chip giant, in accordance with the Network Security Review measures. Cybersecurity Review. After the news was released, the market value of Micron plummeted immediately, which also caused related companies such as Qualcomm and Nvidia to plummet. As one of the world's largest storage manufacturers, Micron's memory chips and flash memory are widely used in the products of Huawei, Xiaomi, Oppo, Vivo, and other mobile phone manufacturers. China has already grown into the world's largest smartphone market and consumer electronics market. In 2022, China's smartphone shipments will reach 286 million units, while the United States will only have 130 million units in the same period. Once this market is lost, it will undoubtedly be a major loss for Micron. Why Micron? Because in the field of storage and flash memory, domestic manufacturers such as YMTC and Huawei Chongqing have basically completed the replacement or even surpassed Micron technology. YMTC even relied on Stacing 3.0 technology to achieve 232 layers of flash memory while maintaining 2,400 metric tons/s efficient I/O speed and ranks in the first echelon of technology. At the moment when domestic flash memory manufacturers have achieved breakthroughs one after another, Micron is no longer a must. At the same time, the review of Micron on the grounds of security is actually a kind of solidarity with enterprises such as Huawei. At present, more than 300 companies have been included in the entity list of U.S. business, including famous technology companies such as Huawei, SMIC, Yangtze River Storage, and Shanghai Microelectronics. This behavior has also had a considerable impact on the development of the domestic technology industry. Therefore, taking the same measures for Micron is actually a counterattack. Suspension is actually a double-edged sword. Taking Micron as an example, in fiscal year 2018, 57.11% of its revenue came from the mainland market, which was also the fastest growing period for Micron. However, with the emergence of abnormal means of competition, such as cutting off supply, while negatively affecting domestic manufacturers such as Huawei and SMIC, American companies such as Micron are also losers, and their mainland revenue has also dropped from $119 billion to $22.8 billion. And the market value has evaporated by more than $300 billion. Micron's financial report for the second fiscal quarter of 2023 showed that its revenue fell by 53%, and at the same time there was a huge loss of $2.31 billion. In order to cope with the huge loss, Micron had to announce 15% layoffs to tide over the difficulties. Behind the counterattack against Micron is actually a sense of knocking the mountain and shaking the tiger. Compared with Micron, Qualcomm, Nvidia, AMD, and other companies are also extremely dependent on the mainland market. For example, more than 50% of Qualcomm's revenue comes from the Chinese market. Especially now that new energy vehicles are gradually replacing fuel vehicles, the demand for automotive chips has exploded. This is a golden development opportunity for chip companies. Micron's counterattack has also attracted the attention of foreign media. Many media including the Wall Street Journal and New York Times have reported and reflected on it, believing that the cutoff initiated by the United States is forming a backlash, which not only makes the American companies have lost their market share and reputation, and at the same time, there has been a faint wave of replacing American-made products with independent research and development on a global scale. There are no permanent winners and no permanent losers in global industrial competition. In the past, U.S. companies gained a lot of market share and profits through technological leadership. Now, with the rise of Chinese companies and joining this competition, the profits of U.S. companies have decreased while the profits of Chinese companies have increased. This is actually a normal competitive relationship. But now the United States is trying to maintain its advantages by means of cutting off supply instead of basing itself on R&D investment and technological innovation. This is actually putting the cart before the horse. There are no generals who are always victorious and no empires that are never defeated. Anything that tries to stop the torrent of history will eventually be submerged in the torrent of history.